Hi guys, I am aprilvibar from BSAET 4th year section 1 and I am going to discuss about the price elasticity of supply while doing my makeup. First off, what is the price elasticity of supply? It is used in economics to measure or show the responsiveness of a good or service to change its price. After the price elasticity of supply, we will have the elasticity and inelasticity of supply. Under the elastic supply, we will have three subtopics, which are elastic supply, perfectly elastic supply, and unit elastic supply. Elastic supply simply means when the price increases, the supply increases, and when the price decreases, the supply also decreases. Elastic supply usually works in seasonal products, such as phone cases, food and beverages, such as milk tea. So, ang milk tea ay maituturing na seasonal products dahil minsan in demand siya. At kapag in demand siya, doon naglalabas yung mga nagtitinda ng panibagong variation or panibagong flavor, tapos doon nila dinadagdagan ng price. So, mas bago sa pandinig ng mga tao, mas yun yung binibili. So, yun ang example ng elastic supply. So, with that example, our demand increased 80% and our price is possible to increase 20%. So, the formula will be 20% of the price increase over 80% of the demand. So, it will be equal to 0.25%, which shows of how the supply responds according to the change in price and demand. Perfectly elastic supply. Perfect elastic supply has sudden changes of the price. It has a ceiling and flooring price, wherein this is the sudden changes of the price. Perfect elastic supply show how a supply will react whenever there's a decrease in a product price. So for example, easy-made products or already made products are highly featured elastic due to the increase in demand such as pizzas, books, and pencils. Luxury goods can also be a good example in perfectly elastic supply. Goods that have highly demand cause the price to increase together with the demand. So unit elastic supply simply means or simply shows how the price increase and price decrease affects the supply and demand. Or in short, when the price increases, the supply and demand decreases, and when the price decreases, the supply and demand increases. So for example, ang phone unit ay naghahalagang 3,500. Tapos nakakabenta siya ng, sabihin na natin, around 50 pieces, ganyan. Yung 3,500, nakakabenta siya ng 50 pieces, tapos dinikrease mo pa yon. Dinikreasean mo, binabaan mo yung presyo na 3,500, ginawa mong 3,000 pesos, sarado. So, mas tumaas yung, ang demand natin or yung sale natin kasi nga, mas nagmura siya. So, yung dating 50 pieces lang, naging 60 pieces, 70 pieces na ngayon. Guys, you need to take note of this. A single change in price can affect both demand and supply. If the demand continues to increase, the supply is said to be elastic. So, sa madaling salita, yung elastic supply, kapag tumaas ang presyo, tataas din ang supply and demand. Kapag bumaba naman ang presyo nito, bababa ang supply at demand. Sa perfectly elastic supply naman, kapag tumaas ang presyo, bababa ang supply and demand. And then, kapag sinabi naman natin na sa unit elastic supply, kapag bumaba ang price, tataas ang supply and demand. Kapag tumaas naman ang price, bababa ang supply at demand. In elastic, we will have two topics, which are inelastic supply and perfectly inelastic supply. Inelastic supply is just the same as the elastic supply. The only difference is if the both price and demand decreases, the supply is also possible to decrease. This usually works in necessities products such as gas, house, waters, or food. change in price doesn't affect that much in supply and demand because it is something that people would not dare to live without. So the formula will be the gas drops in price, so the price will be negative over the positive change in demand. The answer will also be negative, which shows that the supply is not that affected in the change of price. So magiging negative 2 yung price natin kasi bumaba siya ng negative 2%, and then magiging over kung ilan yung demand, which is yung 50, tumaas siya ng 50. So positive 50 is equal to negative 0.04%. Yun yung naging response ng supply doon sa ating inelastic. Kaya siya tinawag na inelastic dahil naka-negative siya at below siya ng 1. 0.04 is lower than 1. So, inelastic siya. Kaya siya tinawag na inelastic. Perfectly inelastic supply. This shows how demand and supply is unresponsive in the change of the price because the elasticity of the demand is equals to 0. So for example, a manufacturing company is short in workers and raw materials. In order to meet the buyer's need, they need to hire more laborers and extract more materials from different resources. Meeting the consumer needs is far from possible because of the given situation. Due to the lack in laborers and materials, price might change but will not affect the consumer's decision in buying the product. No matter the price is, the demand and supply is still the same and unaffected in change in price. So yung example naman natin dito sa perfectly inelastic supply is service. So dito sa service natin is, yun nga, kulang sila sa workers and sa raw materials, pero hindi pa rin yun nakaka-apekto doon sa gusto ng buyer or ng consumer. So as long as mabibigay ng manufacturer yung gusto ng consumer, walang pakialam yung consumer kung magkano man yung babayaran niya doon sa service na gagawin ng manufacturing company. The supply and demand is still the same and the unaffected change in price. So ang example ko lang naman doon sa elastic is unnecessary goods, and dito naman sa elastic is necessary goods na hindi talaga kahit magtaas ng price or hindi siya masyadong makaka-apekto doon sa supply and demand. Thank you for watching this video and sana may naintindihan kayo sa aking mga sinabi. Bye!